One question can bring you back to what matters, to the ache beneath the surface, to the quiet truth that follows you from place to place, waiting to be seen. Welcome to One Question, a short, weekly reflection to help you reconnect with your body, your values, and your truth. This week's question is, can I sit with my loneliness? I live in a city of 10 million people. There are crowds everywhere, on the trains, in the cafes, in parks, and yet the deepest and most important relationships of my life live elsewhere. Albuquerque, Portland, Seattle, Melbourne, other corners of Europe. It's a beautiful thing to have your heart stretched across the world. But it also means that in tough moments, illness, grief, change, I sometimes feel that stretch as an ache. There are nights when I want to call one of my people to hear their voice, to feel known. But time zones don't care about emotion. They draw hard boundaries. And so sometimes I sit in the quiet, realizing that it's 2 a.m. where they are, and it's just me here. When loneliness shows up, I notice the urge to move fast, to fill the silence, to work, to scroll, to pretend I'm fine, or to try to make new friendships feel deeper or closer than they have had time to become. All of those are ways of running, from the feeling, from the stillness, from the mirror that loneliness holds up. And I don't think I'm alone in this. But what if we stopped running? What if we could simply sit with our loneliness long enough to hear what it's trying to say? Science tells us that loneliness isn't just emotional. It's physiological. Neuroscientist John Cacioppo, I hope I'm saying that right, who devoted his life to studying human connection, found that loneliness activates the same neural pathways as physical pain. Our brains experience social disconnection the same way we experience an injury. That means your body doesn't distinguish very much between there's no one to talk to and burning your hand on the stove. Both are saying, something hurts, pay attention. That pain served a purpose in our evolutionary past. For most of human history, survival depended on belonging. If you were cast out from your tribe, your life was at risk. So the brain evolved to see isolation as a danger. And that wiring is still in us, unchanged. But what has changed is the world we live in. Social media gives the illusion of closeness, but it often replaces depth with volume. We are constantly connected, yet rarely truly known. And modern life makes it easier than ever to be physically far from the people who know us best. We move for opportunity, for love, for adventure, and for work. In my own life, I've moved between countries and continents, places that have shaped me, stretched me, and sometimes left me feeling unmoored. Airplanes, messaging apps, and Wi-Fi make it possible to live anywhere. But our nervous systems haven't caught up. They still crave the small daily signals of safety and belonging. Shared meals, familiar voices, and a friend's hand on your shoulder. Our biology is ancient. Our technology and mobility are new. And between the two sits this modern form of loneliness. One that isn't about being physically alone, but about the lack of felt connection. That's what loneliness is trying to tell us. Not that we are broken, but that we are wired for real human closeness. It's our body's way of calling us back to what matters. And let's be honest, that can happen even when we are physically present with other people. We can be lonely and not alone. The Buddhist teacher, Pema Chödrön, calls this the wisdom of loneliness. She writes that when we stop trying to escape it, loneliness becomes a friend, one that softens the heart and opens us up to compassion. She says, we can sit with our loneliness and let it breathe, knowing that in this space, we are learning to love without conditions. That idea, that loneliness could be a teacher instead of a threat, has changed how I meet those quiet moments. For me, sitting with loneliness isn't a spiritual performance. It is a practice in truth-telling. It is saying, yes, I wish someone I love were here right now, and also, I can be with myself until they are. It's learning that I can meet my own needs for comfort, care, and kindness without demanding that the world fix it for me. Because when I stop fighting the loneliness, it often reveals something underneath it, longing. And longing isn't weakness. It's proof that we're still alive to the possibility of connection. The poet and philosopher John O'Donohue once wrote, "When you are lonely, may you find friendship in yourself. When you are tired, may your heart stay open, gentle, and true." That line resonates so deeply with me because it reframes loneliness as a doorway inward, not outward. It's an invitation to sit down beside yourself and say, "You are safe here. You belong here." It reminds me that belonging doesn't always start with other people. Sometimes it begins by coming home to myself, to my body, to my breath, to my own company. And the irony is that when I can do that, when I can make peace with my own presence, I'm actually more open to real connection with others. I can then reach out, not from desperation, but from groundedness. So maybe the question isn't, how do we make loneliness go away? Maybe the question is, what is loneliness asking us to notice? Can we sit with it long enough to hear what it's trying to tell us about who we miss, what we need, and what we're ready to reconnect with? Because maybe loneliness isn't the absence of connection. Maybe it's the body's way of calling us back to it. Thank you for joining me for One Question. If this question stayed with you today, don't rush to fill the quiet. Take a moment to sit, breathe, and listen. Your loneliness isn't an enemy. It's a messenger. And like all messengers, it has something important to say. Can you sit with your loneliness and let it show you what you need next? Until next week, be kind to yourself, trust your gut, and always ask better questions.